Hey guys!
One of my few passions in life is watching wrestling, and I've been wanting to do this video for quite some time. I still don't know how I'm gonna tell it, what I'm going to include, and what title this video will receive. But what I want to talk about with you people is WWE, in particular, how they treated their Japanese wrestlers, in particular the female stars. I want to go in there because for the last couple of years I have developed an interest in the Japanese side of wrestling and how much talent lies there on the women's side. And yeah, so it all started way back in the 80s. You know, WWE had a relationship with the Japanese leagues and some major stars in it. For example, Archer Kong, or got the chance to work with Bull Nakano, who were like the biggest female wrestling stars in the 80s and early 90s. But with the changes of WWE and how they treated their female stars throughout the 90s and 2000s, in the early 2010s, there wasn't really a place for Japanese wrestlers or a large interest in women's wrestling. So it did came a bit of a surprise when around 2015 or so they managed to get their hands on Asuka. Now, Asuka was already a star in her own right. She had previously worked under the name of Kana in various Japanese promotions. She worked with Io and Mio Shirai. Mio Shirai is Io's older sister, who's also very talented but sadly retired. And when I think everybody realized that with Kana / Asuka, they had something truly valuable in their hands, and it was fantastic. You know, Asuka had strong matches during NXT and was booked greatly around, you know, all around magic, I would say. A lot of great matches and even an undefeated streak. Only when she got upvoted to the main roster, the booking started to fall apart so a little bit, and Asuka was just used as a stepping stone for others, which is not too bad. I mean, Asuka is by now, yes, 40, so, and I mean, back then she was already in her late 30s, and normally not too many Japanese wrestlers manage to get to this age. Normally they retire around 31, 32, sometimes 33, or even younger, because they also start younger. And yeah, everybody realized they had something magical in their hands, and of course they tried to repeat it. And I'm not sure if they got first Kairi Sane or Io Shirai. I think it was, yeah, it must have been Kairi Sane. Right, I remember Io had back problems at that time, and neck problems, and WWE were hesitant on signing Io, so they went with Kairi Sane or Kairi Hocho, who is just as amazing and as a wrestler and really talented, but they couldn't really mold her into the same form that they could mold Asuka. Now, unlike Asuka, Kairi had only experience in stardom, like 6 years of wrestling experience, so not as much as Asuka or Kana. And they tried times and time again to book her, but they didn't really know what to do with her, so her booking was more inconsistent, and then placed her with Asuka together in a team which I thought was great, the Kabuki Warriors. It wasn't super serious, but it was fun, and seeing them as heels, because Kairi is mainly wrestled as a face or something akin to a face on the Japanese market. But with every stay, with the longer stay in America, Kairi missed her home, and so they sent her back after a very nasty concussion story that happened during a match between the Kabuki Warriors and Nia Jax and I think Shayna Baszler, when Nia Jax slammed Kairi Sane hard on the canvas, and she suffered a concussion. Afterwards, they sent Kairi back to Japan to kind of work as an ambassador, because by then the Japanese market had, or the Japanese wrestling world is tightly locked, so to speak. What I mean by that is that the Japanese have mostly kept for themselves. There have been some cross promotions. Like I said, in the past, they work with WWE, they work with small indie promotions in America, but mostly they stay just in Japan and with each other. That's because they're all very interconnected, so some promotions belong together. For example, World Wonder Stardom and New Japan Pro Wrestling, they both belong to Bushi Road, which is the company, so obviously they do more stuff together and are very keen on keeping their stars to themselves, whereas there are other promotions, for example, Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling, and then there's also the fact that some promotions just don't like each other, for example, Ice Ribbon and Stardom, and that it's seen as a sort of betrayal when you leave your promotion for another one. Kairi worked for her last 2 years on her WWE contract back in Japan as an ambassador, tried to get into the market and establish a business relationship between mainly Stardom and WWE. As you know, that didn't come to fruition, and Kairi works now back at Stardom without WWE. But I wouldn't say that her time there was super bad. I think she was NXT championship. She had opportunities at other titles. She managed to win the WWE Tag Team Women's Championships with Asuka, among the few. I know that women tag team championships don't mean that much in WWE, but it's still an accomplishment, I would say. And not to mention all the fantastic matches that Kairi put out during her time there. And yeah, I remember her participating in a Mae Young Classic and winning the damn thing. And for that she received the NXT Championship. Now around the same time that now sometime later, rather, right around the time where Kairi was on her way out, she was also put in a tag team with Io Shirai, who had been previously the ace of Stardom, which is a highly respected position. It's the face of the company, it's the highest thing you can do. And so for Io leaving Stardom, where she was highly respected, and to get everything back practically at WWE, was a critical decision, I think, or controversial. And yeah, Io teamed up with Kairi, and her booking in WWE has been consistent, I would say, with a lot of top matches, a lot of top spots, but the main difference is that unlike Kairi or Asuka, Io has not been drafted to the main roster, and despite being a year younger than Kairi, Io has a lot more experience in wrestling, because she started around 2007 alongside her older sister. And that's so important, because Io had someone to look up to and train together with, which is great. But even with such a talented wrestler, they haven't really recaptured what they did with Asuka, despite their attempts to recapturing that particular magic. And I think that's what this video is all about, recapturing that magic that they achieved with Asuka and retelling a little bit about all that stuff, and what I think they tried to do. And then we also have Meiko Satomura, who's been on NXT UK, which is not highly accessible, so I can't speak about Meiko's booking, because practically nothing of NXT UK lands on YouTube, where I mostly watch wrestling. So, and I don't have the money for the network or whatever. So yeah, Still, I try to watch as much, get as many news as possible, get myself informed. And I mean, Mako is also already in her 40s, so in the latter half of her career, she doesn't have to prove that much anymore, or depends on being good, or good, because now she can, once you reach a certain age in wrestling, can kind of rest a little bit and focus on trying to get younger talent over. And if I'm not mistaken, that's kind of what Mako does, because everybody knows Mako is the final boss that you have to put down on NXT UK, and not many have managed that. Yeah. And now, well, not now, it's already months old again, they have signed Sarray. Sarray is a young, wonderful talent. I believe she's about 26 years old. So she's the youngest Japanese signing they have currently. And at first, I thought they were trying to do the same thing that they did with Asuka. You know, Asuka received the moniker of the Empress of Tomorrow. Kairi was the Pirate Princess. Io Shirai is the Genius of the Sky. Mako Satomura is the final boss. And now Sarray, who's the Warrior of the Sun. But again, it's this kind of like case where they don't really know what to do with her. So they just do or try whatever and hope that something sticks. I'm not a fan of what they currently do with Sarray, but on the other side, I haven't seen so many matches of her, so I can't speak on her wrestling ability in absolute totality. But I know from what I've seen on the web from Japanese wrestlers like Tam Nakano, Io Shirai, Arisa Hoshiki, Suri, Julia, Mio Yamashita, that they have truly talented people and they put a lot of work into it. I want to also mention at this point Momo Watanabe, AZM, Starlight Kid. Those are all super talented people, and it's, in terms of wrestling ability, it just helps that they have pure women-focused promotions to nurture such talents, you know, and not everybody will get a chance. And I think WWE has realized now that what they did with Asuka in her first years on NXT was truly special, and that they can't recapture that. But they also need to get clear of what they want to do with them properly, not just have them to fill spots on the roster, or when you're just in the mood for a good opponent or something like that. You need to do something good. For example, putting them maybe in a team together, or stop insisting that they can't speak English. If you know about Asuka and her YouTube channel, which is Kana TV, she speaks so much better English than what she's allowed to speak on WWE television, which hurts actively her character and portrays a sort of false image, because they don't want foreigners to speak good English. Io Shirai's mother was an English teacher, so she's aware of the language too, but they don't get a chance to like be treated like other female superstars. And right now they have one of the best female rosters in America. They just need to do better, because soon others will catch up. But yeah, this is just some recapturing, just providing some thoughts on wrestling, which I never have done before. I hope you liked it. I also want to thank the last 3 people who subscribed to my channel. I'm now at 38. I duly appreciate it. Helps the channel, helps me, helps my motivation, and we'll see us in the next video.
Okay, fuckity bye.